Hi guys, welcome to Strength Reversed. It's Amy. I am in my classroom because I wanted to re-film this video. I filmed it last night, but I looked at it and it was kind of all over the place and rambly because I kept wanting to make sure I didn't forget anything that I was going to tell you about this book. I'm really excited to make this video finally, and I've hinted at this book a couple of times in other videos, so I'm finally sharing it. Pay no attention to the vacuum cleaner or the microwave or, you know, whatever. So this book was sent to me by the author, Andy Matzner, who I know from Instagram. So thank you, Andy. It is called Tarot for Transformation, and the subtitle is Using the Major Arcana to Discover Your Best Self and Create a Life Worth Living. Now, this book really should be called Balls Out Introspection. Like, not for the faint of heart, doing the work. So it's a little bit scary and daunting. But when I got this package, because Andy messaged me and said, I'm sending you this book, and I was like, okay. And I opened it, and I was expecting a book, and got this, and it's like, wow, oh my gosh. I was excited, and it's like that rose petally, like rubbery kind of feel. So it's pretty, first of all. This is the Major Arcana, okay? This takes you on the entire Fool's journey. So it's a unique book. It's not your average tarot book. So let me just talk about it a little more with you. Now, Andy has written 2 more books. One is Journaling the Tarot, and the other one is the Tarot Activity Book. And they are available, as this Tarot for Transformation is available on Amazon. I will put a link to his Instagram and to the book down below, of course. So I've been, you know, there are 2 things to do with this book. One is to read it, and the other one is to do the book. Now, I have read the book, but I haven't started doing the book, and I don't really know where I want to start doing the book, because you can start, you don't have to go in order, you can start anywhere. And I've decided that my indecision is probably a form of resistance, because this requires some major heavy-duty going inside, like taking the hermit's lantern and shining the light on all those little cobwebs and nooks and crannies that maybe you're scared to see what's there. So I'm looking. Now, Andy is a mental health professional. So this book is a little bit different. If you're looking for a book that is a glossary of meanings for each card with a couple little activities after each, that's not what this book is. This is activity heavy, and it still gives you a lot of good information about the tarot, but you know, he does talk about the tarot on a symbolic level, and there's lots of, this is not a repeat of any book that's out there, which is what I really like about it, because there are plenty of books out there where you could look into tarot symbolism more deeply, but this is a very unique take on it. He is very big into etymology, the origin of the word, and so he does that to begin a lot of the chapters, like the Fool and like the Temperance chapter, where he breaks down where the word came from, and that can give you some insight into the meaning of the cards. He talks about Jung, he talks about mythology. It's super comprehensive. The focus, though, is more on taking the spirit or energy of each card and just milking it for all it's worth in your personal life. Now, I'll go through a chapter or 2 here so you can see how it's set up, but if you are going to look at this book, I would for sure not skip the introduction, because he clearly states what he's hoping you get out of this book and how you can go about making changes in your life. And like I said, he is a professional, so I feel like he has a lot of very useful activities and things to add. It's not just like take a bubble bath. It's heavy duty reflection that you could for sure would help you make some serious changes. Now, I know he would agree and not say, you know, a book doesn't replace therapy, but I'm sure it would. Any healing modality could be augmented by even just doing 1 or 2 of the journal prompts or activities, or contemplating some of the ideas he has in here. So a little bonus, if you are like me and you're a quote person and you like to collect quotes, he collected them all for you. I was so pleasantly surprised when I opened the book and the first thing I saw was a page full of quotes. There's probably at least a dozen quotes per card, and I think things like quotes and songs and things like that can really help you remember and understand the essence of each card. So if you're a tarot person, you're going way deep and making personal connections with these cards. And if you're not a tarot person, you could learn something new, but you could totally get positive experience. You could have a positive experience with this book. You don't have to be a tarot person, but you can appreciate it that much more if you are a tarot person. So he starts out by saying that he's not giving a complete symbolic breakdown of the majors. He does give some symbology, but he said, I allowed each card to communicate to me its correspondence to the world of psychology and self-growth. It's the kind of book I wish I had when I was younger and in search of support. Something that contained extensive strategies and activities to go along with the vibration of each card. He talks about, he has as part of his intro the different steps that you can go through to create a change, or the nature of change, and so what you can expect as you make some changes or just do some reflection. There is a lot of journaling as a sacred practice in this book. You could do one journal entry, you could do all of the journal prompts. So you can make this as simple or as in-depth as you want. It might take you a day for each card, or you could spend a year on all of the activities for each of these cards. Let me just read some of the introduction, because every self-help topic you could probably think of is included as a correspondence to one of the cards. So it starts out with the Fool and talks a lot about mindfulness and the kinds of thoughts that we have. The Magician is the hero of your own life. The High Priestess is intuition and time management. The Empress is making peace with food and eating. Beliefs, of course, the Lovers is relationships. Boundaries with the Chariot. Self-compassion with strength. Temperance is stress reduction and balance. Addiction and recovery. Irrational thinking, spirituality, gratitude, shadow work, managing anxiety, self-talk, loss, grief. I mean, fate and destiny. It's like a one-stop shop of different topics. And I know as I progress throughout a year, I'm having a temperance year this year, but there are some other topics, that I really want to cover this year. And so you can skip around or you can go in order. Let me give you an example of what you might expect to encounter in a chapter. The chapter on the Fool has a lot of background, and Andy has included a lot of his knowledge that he would use as a as a counselor into the meaning of the cards here. So first of all, it starts with just looking at the word fool and all of the words that it's related to and different languages, like the word balloon, belly, bulge, blossom. Those are all related to the fool. He has just some, not basic, but background about the card itself and the symbolism in the card. But because the Fool is about mindfulness, I mean, there's Greek mythology, lots of quotes, journal entries before you start looking at this card, and lots of journal prompts for after you have looked at this. But there are pages of information about paying attention, traditional ways you could be more mindful, like playing an instrument, drawing, meditating. It talks about concentration. There are tips throughout. These are practical things, practical exercises you can do. Holding thoughts lightly, non-judgment, acceptance, more prompts. And he does mention about reading, being interactive with the book and reading reflectively, especially with the quotes. And so when he lists quotes, sometimes he'll just have a page with several quotes on it, and there will be space between each quote. Like here's a page for the magician. There will be space between each quote where you can let it percolate and reflect on the quote and how it relates to the card or to anything else. It's very comprehensive. And there are things that I wouldn't normally relate, things that are related to the card that you wouldn't normally think of. I'm really interested in diving more deeply into the Empress card and how that relates to eating and just basically taking care of yourself on a physical level. So this is on Amazon, like I said. Check it out. I was going to do a chapter more in depth and share what I did, but I think it would get really personal. I'm not sure. I'm going to think about that, but I'm not going to start at the beginning, but I am going to maybe start with the Empress. I'm really interested in that one. Anyway, I'm very happy with this book. Andy, I thank you very much for thinking of me. It was a nice treat and a wow moment when I opened it up and saw this book. It's a lot of really good information, and like I said, it is different than any other tarot book out there, so I would highly recommend it. Maybe you could put it on a wish list somewhere. The holidays are coming up. Okay, I will link all of his info below. Make sure you like or subscribe. I will see you next time.